Let's go back to July the 13th when we realized Mraz didn't think there were cars before 1950.
So, like, the first time a 16-year-old gets their learner's permit and hops into a Geo Prism is what year?
Well, a Geo Prism is a relatively modern vehicle, but you could be driving in the 20s.
Okay, all right. I don't know, but that was a shot, right? I took a shot.
You took a shot. Hey, shoot or shoot?
Shoot or shoot.
How about Mraz? No cars in the 40s? Give me a break. Yeah, at times his lack of basic knowledge is shocking. It's startling. It's shocking that he has a high school diploma and also a college diploma.
I wasn't alive in the 40s. So to expect me to know that, it's 40 years before I'm born. It's ridiculous.
Well, you had to learn about the Model T in high school.
You know what? They would start this curriculum, and we'd always end up back at the Civil War. I wouldn't get to cars, ever. I blame the school district.
You didn't get to cars like you just stopped paying attention, or your class never got to
class. It always started, with the Mayflower and ended with the Civil War. They would always say, hey, we're going to get up to Martin Luther King. We never do. Every year in the social studies, it's the same stuff with these schools.
Again, you're blaming other people for you not knowing, but you didn't. You say you started with the Pilgrims and the Mayflower. You also didn't know Columbus wasn't a pilgrim.
I mean, it's been a long time since I sat in a class. But to expect me to know stuff that I was never taught 40 years in advance is just absurd. Well, and I'm sure a lot of these people didn't know.
You think that most of our listeners didn't know there were cars in the 40s? Did you never watch a movie from the 40s?
Well, the listeners who didn't know aren't tweeting you right now, which are a lot of people.
Did you learn about World War II?
Did I watch a movie in the 40s? I need sound, man. I'm not watching them silent flicks.
Again, you don't think there was sound in the 40s?
No, it was
You think
sound.
they were just talkies?
But they always had, with Houdini and the black and white movies and
stuff? You think that was the 40s?
We're going to move on.
You think Houdini was in the 40s? What do you think happened in World War II?
We won.
Okay, thank God you knew that. The 1940s is Joe DiMaggio. Do you think Joe DiMaggio didn't have a car and didn't have sound in his movies?
I don't know about the movies, but you're right. Now that I think about it, if you're putting it in sports terms, DiMaggio definitely drove some kind of old Buick or something.
You think Babe Ruth had a car?
I don't know. I could see the Babe with the crown on, cigar hanging out of his mouth with a couple of rusty horses riding through Central Park.
Oh, yeah. To get to games, he rode on a horse and buggy.
Parking would be a little rough. No easy pass on those things.
July the 13th, we found out Mraz didn't know when cars were invented. And the trifecta of excuses. This is the Mraz hat trick. Blame the school. When cornered that, well, you also don't know things that you admit you learned, says, well, that was a long time ago, and then deflects blame or responsibility by saying, all these other people, all the other listeners don't know it either. I'm not the only dummy. That's the Mraz excuse trifecta.
Now that I've heard that for a second time today, I see some flaws in my mindset.
You're just ducking and weaving. You are the ultimate responsibility ducker and weaver.
I don't want anything thrown on my shoulders, but I will say curriculums, and I say this seriously, get to current day. You said Model T, something I didn't even admit there. I thought the Model T was like an airplane you built. I mean, that's crazy. Like, they need to teach kids more.
Are you sure you just weren't listening or you weren't learning and everybody else was?
There was a time in school I was an honor student. I was taking science and math classes a year above my grade.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, my parents had the bumper sticker and everything. My son was on honor roll.
What years were those? What grades?
Definitely 8th through 10th. I was pretty bright. 11th grade, I started to slack off a little bit when I, foresaw that I didn't want to go away to school because of showers that we've been over on the show.
You, in 10th grade, you were an honor student?
Yeah, I was taking 11th grade science and math.
And you...
Not kidding.
You were an honor student in 10th grade as a sophomore in high school and didn't know that the Model T was a car? You thought it was an airplane?
I mean, maybe looking back, maybe I did, but I certainly didn't at the jarring moment you had said this in July.
Oh my God. You were an honor student at 10th grade and you thought Columbus was a pilgrim?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it was math and science I was a year above, not social studies. I just think looking back, I think Long Island's social studies programs have a lot of flaws. I knew how to grew something in a Petri dish.